A lot of times in life, when we're going through our hardest times, we don't realize that. When you're going through the storm, it sucks. When you're at your rock bottom, it's hard to believe that there's more. When you took a big loss in your life, you feel like your life is over. And like I've told you in 1,000 videos, and I'll keep telling you, your life isn't over. Maybe that situation is over. Maybe that chapter is over. Maybe that time is over, but your life isn't over. Okay. And I know it's hard to believe that when you're going through it, but you have to believe it. There's more to your life than the pain that you're currently going through. There's more to your life than the people who have walked out of your life. There's more to your life than your lost job. There's more to your life than your lost dream. There's more to your life than your stress. There's more to your life than the depression. I promise you, but it doesn't matter what I tell you until you give yourself permission, right, to make the world respect your greatness, till you give yourself permission to heal, till you give yourself permission to be the greatest you, till you give yourself permission to be the best you. Too many of us are living at a level that we're not supposed to be living at, right? We're settling for less. We're living at a level that's a lesser version of ourselves for whatever reason, right? It's probably something external. It's probably a person, or it's probably a situation. It's probably something that we went through, but we're living at that level because we've accepted something about ourselves that's not true, right? We accepted opinions that are not true. We accepted a sickness that is not true. And you might say, well, these things were given to me, and if I'm battling a sickness, that's what the doctor said. But listen, you don't have to become that sickness. That sickness doesn't have to become your identity. That failed relationship doesn't have to become your identity. That person that walked out of your life doesn't have to become your identity. I've always told you, and I will continue to tell you, you're always in control of what you accept. If I was to give you something right now that you hated, like physically, like if I was to give you, say, I'm looking at a banana. If I was to give you a banana and you don't like bananas, you're not going to accept that banana, right? And to make it even a deeper subject, if I was to give you a bottle of poison, and I always use this illustration when I speak. If I was to give you a bottle of poison, I told you to drink it, you would look at me like I was crazy, right? Because you knew that poison would either would harm you or it could even kill you, right? But when it comes to our life, we accept these poisons over and over and over again. We accept the poison of opinion. We accept the poison of depression. We accept it, and we allow those things to become our identity. So I want to let you know right now that there is more to your life. You have to believe that. Even if you don't know what the more is, because I didn't know what the more is. I just knew and accepted that my current situation was not my final destination. I didn't know what God had for me. I didn't know the path that he had for me. I didn't know what my future had for me, but I knew that if I stayed in the same mindset, if I stayed in the same environment, if I stayed in that prison perspective, nothing in my life would change. I prayed, and I will continue to pray. Prayer is incredible. But if you truly believe in what you're praying, you have to act on your prayers. You can't pray a victorious prayer, but then live defeated. Do you feel me? All right. So those actions have to match up. And so what I want to talk about today, three ways that I see people live their life. And this is my observation just from people that I know. I mean, I travel across the world. I've talked to millions of people. And these are 3 ways that people live their life. All right. And I'm going to break it down by percentages that I think is correct. Right. So you have about 30% of people and I talked about this on my Instagram live the other night. You have 30% of people that are being left by life. And what does that mean? That means that they have accepted their situation. They have accepted that their life is over when it's not over, but that's what they're telling themselves. They have accepted that there's nothing better. They have accepted their depression. They have accepted their pain, and they're staying there. I know that feeling far too well. If you know my story, you know when I lost football, I was in that place. I've been in each one of these places I'm about to talk about. I was in that place. I was sitting in my mom's room. I was complaining. I was blaming. I was telling my life was over. I didn't want to do anything with my life. I isolated myself, and I stayed there thinking that life would just change. But life was leaving me, right? People stopped calling me to ask how I was feeling because they had their own life. And life was just leaving me behind. And the crazy thing about it, what scared me the most was me not being the best I could be, not just for myself, but for those that needed me to be, especially my son at that moment in my life. I didn't want to get to a place in my life where I was 60 and 70 years old and lived in regret, where I lived a whole life full of incompletion. I had all these gifts and talents in me, but instead I allowed the period in my life to control the rest of my life. I allowed the hard time in my life to control the rest of my life. right? So about 30% of people live there, right? They are being left by life. I would say probably about 60% of people live in this area, right? They're being led by life, right? So 30% are being left by life. 60% are being led by life. What does that mean? Or left by life, right? So let me clarify that. So I know it's a lot of lives. 30% is being left by life. Now 60% is being led by life. What does that mean? It means life is leading you, right? Life might not be bad. It might be okay, right? You're just living life every single day. Whatever life gives to you, you're just accepting it, right? However life goes, you're just accepting it. It's kind of like putting a boat on the water without sails and just on the water, wherever that tide or whatever the current takes you, you're just going with it, right? But it's something about when you're being led by life that leads to unfulfillment. So a lot of you might be at a job that is paying good money, but you feel unfulfilled. A lot of you might be in a relationship that's okay, but you feel unfulfilled. A lot of you might just be living life existing, right? And existing is okay, right? It doesn't mean you're in a bad place, but it's something when you're not living a fulfilled life that you feel like something is missing, right? You're existing, but you don't feel alive. You don't wake up every single day with a purpose. You don't wake up every single day hungry. You don't wake up you just wake up. And whatever life brings you, you accept. I've been there with my life. I've been there. I know exactly how that feels, right? It's just like wherever life goes, I'm going to. I wasn't intentional about my life. I wasn't purposeful about my life. I was just accepting life. And a lot of people do. They accept what life gives them. And they believe that that's all they deserve. You deserve so much more. To talk about the third area how people live life, and this is the beautiful area. About 10% of people that I know and who I've talked to live here, right? So you have the 30% that's being left by life, right? You have the 60%, majority of people that's being led by life. And then you have the 10% of people who are leading life. So what does that mean? Leading life means you wake up with intention every single day, right? Leading life is me living rehab time, right? I'm not accepting what the world is giving me no more. I'm not accepting people's opinions. I'm not accepting average. I'm not accepting just going by life. I'm not accepting even being successful but unfulfilled. I'm not accepting that no more, right? Now I'm leading life. Now I've set the sails in my boat of life and I'm guiding, right? With God's help, of course, guiding where I want to take this thing, right? Every single day, I'm waking up with intention in every area of my life. I'm waking up with the intention of how I want to be as a husband, how I want to be as a father, how I want to be as a friend, how I want to be as a servant, how I want to be as a mentor, how I want to be with every single title that's given to me. Waking up with that intention. I'm intentional about my health, right? I'm intentional about my walk with God. I'm intentional about all these things, right, in my life. And when you live with intention, you start to see the results change in your life. It's facts. It's not, people think that people just, get to a place by luck or by chance. No, they just set the sails. That's it. They set the sails and they release every negative thing in their life and they control their perspective. They protect their perspective. For real.